the opening and closing of schools, there are many, WHO has issued guidance around the considerations of opening schools, closing schools, full closure, partial closure, in the context of this pandemic. What is really, really important is that we understand that schools operate in communities. Schools are not in isolation. So if the virus is circulating in communities, if the virus is circulating around that school where the children live, where the people who work at that school live, there's a possibility that the virus can enter the school system. So what we've done is we have outlined a number of considerations for schools to take into account for the safe reopening of schools. Everybody recognizes globally the importance of schools for children, not only for education, but for security, for food, for social interaction, for protection. And so it is really important that we open schools safely, but they need to be done in the context of the wider circulation of the virus. So what we've done is we've outlined a number of considerations for the decision makers to take, which outlines, what is the circulation of the virus around that school, what is the setting like of the school itself. Not all schools operate the same way. There are different physical structures of the buildings themselves. There's different age groups that are part of the buildings where the children go. What are the policies, the resources, the infrastructure that is in place to ensure that you can continue to do physical distancing and that children have access to running water, they have access to having the ability to wash their hands or use an alcohol-based rub, and ensure that school can continue safely. So we have a number of guidance that's out there that looks at hygiene and environmental cleaning within the schools, that looks at screening within the school itself. So is there a system in place to rapidly detect a case in that school if it occurs among a child or among the staff themselves? And then what is the plan? In addition to that, to outline considerations around communication. So not only talking to the people who work at that school, talking to the children themselves, listening to the children themselves about how they can go back to school safely, and the parents of those children, to weigh the concerns of the parents. So there's a number of considerations that need to be taken into account. But again, just to reiterate, that these schools do not operate in isolation, that they are part of the communities. So if the virus is circulating in the communities, there's a possibility of that virus entering the school itself.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maria van Kerkhove. For the next question, we're going to Spain, to Ariel from El País.